You're making six figures. You handle the mortgage, utilities, groceries. You coach your kid's soccer team. You fixed the disposal last Tuesday without being asked. Yesterday, she told you you're not man enough to provide. Modern dating for men over 40 operates on counterintuitive economics. The data reveals something most married men discover too late. The relationship operating system changed after the contract was signed, but nobody sent you the update. This isn't about your wife being difficult. This is about mismatched firmware in relationship dynamics men face after marriage. You're running Partnership OS 1.0. She upgraded to Transaction OS 2.0 the day the ring went on. The question isn't whether this pattern exists. The comment section across every platform confirms the statistical prevalence. The question is, why does increased provision correlate with decreased relational equity in modern marriage structures? Let's decode the biology and economics behind this pattern. Not to assign blame, to understand the incentive structures that create predictable outcomes. Human mating psychology operates on asymmetric risk assessment. Females across mammalian species evaluate mate quality through resource acquisition potential before pair bonding. Males evaluate through fertility indicators. This isn't controversial. It's documented in comparative primatology studies spanning 5 decades. The critical variable. Selection pressure inverts post-commitment. Before marriage, her evaluation system runs at maximum capacity. She's assessing your genetic fitness, resource potential, social status, emotional stability. This isn't manipulation. This is mate selection optimization under conditions of biological asymmetry. After legal commitment removes exit costs for her while increasing them for you, the selection pressure dissolves. The evaluation system that drove her pre-marriage behavior loses its evolutionary purpose. You're still operating under pre-contract assumptions. You believe continued provision maintains or increases your value in her assessment matrix. The data suggests otherwise. Modern dating for men over 40 who've been married 5+ years reveals a common pattern. I thought doing more would earn more appreciation. Instead, my baseline became her new floor. This isn't a character flaw in either party. This is what economists call adverse selection under asymmetric information. Modern marriage operates under contractual terms that create one-sided incentive structures. Let's map this clearly. The contract terms. She retains exit rights with minimal economic penalty. Asset division defaults, 50-50, regardless of contribution ratio. Custody presumption favors maternal placement. Alimony structures preserve her lifestyle, not yours. No requirement for performance metrics post-contract. You're operating in a system where increased input doesn't secure increased output. Classical economics calls this a negative marginal return environment. Here's the mechanism most men miss. In a structure where she can't lose resources by underperforming, but can gain resources by exiting, the rational economic behavior is to minimize effort while maximizing extraction. This explains the pattern you've observed: nagging until you comply, then contempt once you do. You thought compliance would restore peace. Instead, compliance confirmed that pressure works. She's not evil. She's responding to incentive structures. The system rewards extraction and punishes appeasement. You entered marriage believing in compound interest. Build equity together. Mutual investment creates mutual return. The partnership model. She entered marriage under transaction economics. Secure resources, minimize risk, maximize leverage. The extraction model. This isn't about one model being wrong. This is about incompatible frameworks creating predictable failure modes. When you say, "I need peace," you're speaking partnership language. You mean, "I've invested my resources, time, and emotional energy. The compound return should include a stable environment." When she hears, "I need peace," She's processing through transaction language. She interprets, he's trying to reduce his output while maintaining access to my resources, intimacy, domestic labor, social validation. The same translation gap applies to intimacy. You. Physical connection is how I experience partnership validation. Her. He believes he's entitled to my body regardless of my assessment of his value. Neither translation is accurate to your intent, but her interpretation drives her response pattern. This is why talking about it fails. You're debugging a partnership operating system. She's running transaction firmware. The conversation happens in parallel universes. Here's where intelligent men trap themselves. You're a problem solver. You see the relationship degrading. You apply rational solutions. Failure Mode 1. Communication intensification. You explain your needs more clearly. You use I statements. You read relationship books. This fails because you're optimizing communication within a partnership framework while she's operating in transaction economics. More clarity just gives her better data on which levers to pull. Failure Mode 2. Provision escalation. You make 6 figures, but she says you don't provide enough. You think, if I make more, the pressure will ease. This fails because in transaction economics, revealed willingness to increase provision signals exploitability. The floor rises. The pressure continues. Failure Mode 3. Couples therapy. You suggest professional intervention. She agrees. The therapist asks about feelings. This fails because therapy operates on partnership assumptions. Both parties want mutual optimization. In transaction economics, she wants leverage validation. The therapist becomes another tool for extracting compliance. Failure Mode 4. Self-improvement. You hit the gym. You read Marcus Aurelius. You develop hobbies. You become genuinely higher value. This can work, but not how you expect. It doesn't make her appreciate you more. It makes you realize you have options. The improvement doesn't fix the transaction framework. It wakes you up to it. The intelligent man's trap. Applying high-complexity solutions to the wrong problem. You're debugging partnership code. The system is running transaction firmware. No amount of code optimization fixes incompatible operating systems. The solution isn't negotiating better terms within her transaction framework. The solution is building a parallel operating system that doesn't require her cooperation. Pillar 1. Time sovereignty. Peace isn't something you negotiate. Peace is something you architect through boundary systems. Stop using your time as a bargaining chip. Stop thinking, if I do this task, she'll ease the pressure. That's still transaction thinking. Instead, define non-negotiable time blocks. Saturday mornings are yours. No discussion, no guilt, no trade required. The gym, the garage, the trail, irrelevant. The boundary is the asset. When she tests the boundary, and she will, your response isn't negotiation. It's calm enforcement. This time is non-negotiable. I'm happy to discuss scheduling around it. The first time you hold this boundary, expect escalation. That's her testing whether the old leverage system still works. Your move is silence plus action. You go to the gym. No argument. No explanation. Just execution. Pillar 2. Financial architecture. You can't build sovereignty without economic independence. Even if you stay married, you need escape velocity capital. Here's the framework. Tier 1. Emergency fund in your name only. $5,000 minimum. This is the water heater broke money, not accessible to joint account pressure. Tier 2. Fuck you money. 6 months of basic expenses. This is she threatens divorce to get her way money. When you can say, okay, without financial panic, the leverage game ends. Tier 3, exit capital. Legal retainer plus 1 year post-divorce runway. This isn't planning to leave. This is removing the fear of leaving. Fear is what keeps you accepting unacceptable terms. The moment you hit Tier 2, something shifts. Not in her, in you. You stop negotiating from scarcity. Transaction economics requires one party operating from desperation. Remove your desperation. Watch what happens. Pillar 3, intimacy reframing. She withholds intimacy until you comply. Classical leverage play. Your instinct, negotiate, plead, improve, prove worthiness. All transaction responses that confirm you're still in her game. Alternative framework. Intimacy is an expression of mutual desire, not a reward for compliance. If intimacy only happens when you capitulate, that's not intimacy. That's prostitution with a joint bank account. Stop performing for access. Stop treating her sexual availability as a commodity you purchase through good behavior. That's accepting her transaction frame. Instead, build your value independently. Physical fitness, mental clarity, financial security, purpose. Not to make her want you. To remind yourself that desire flows toward value, not toward compliance. If she never desires you without leverage, you have data. The partnership was always a transaction. That data informs your next decision. Pillar 4, the strategic pause. Most men choose between two extremes: escalate the argument or capitulate to end it. Both are reaction. Both keep you in her frame. Third option, the strategic pause. She escalates. You recognize the pattern. Instead of engaging, you pause. I'm going to take a walk. We can discuss this when we're both calm. Then you leave, not in anger, in boundary enforcement. This does two things. It removes her ability to continue the pressure cycle in the moment. It demonstrates you're no longer operating in reaction mode. She may escalate harder the first few times. You're running away. You don't care about us. These are tests. Your response is consistency. I'll be back in 30 minutes. We'll talk then. The pause isn't avoidance. It's sovereignty. You're declaring that your peace is non-negotiable, even mid-conflict. Pillar 5, the exit awareness. This is the hardest truth. Sometimes, the only winning move is not to play. You can implement every pillar, set every boundary, build complete financial independence, and she still might not shift to partnership mode. Because you can't fix someone who doesn't think they're broken. You can't negotiate partnership with someone committed to transaction. If you reach Tier 3 financial security, hold boundaries for 6 months, and the pattern persists, you have a decision. Not a forced decision, a sovereign decision. Stay because you choose to accept these terms, not because you're trapped by fear or scarcity. Or leave because you've decided that peace and dignity matter more than the sunk cost fallacy. The prescription isn't always leave. The prescription is build the capability to choose. That capability transforms everything, even if you never exercise it. If you're watching this in year 6 or 8 or 15, and something inside you has started dying, you're not broken. You're experiencing a rational response to an irrational system. The exhaustion you feel isn't weakness. It's your nervous system recognizing that the effort-to-outcome ratio violates basic fairness principles. You're not supposed to keep investing in systems with negative returns. That's not marriage failure. That's economic sanity. Here's what I need you to understand. The provision paradox isn't your fault. You did what you were told. Work hard, provide, protect, sacrifice, be the man she needs. Those weren't lies. They were operating instructions for a partnership model. But if she's running transaction firmware, your partnership behavior registers as exploitable weakness, not attractive strength. The Stoics had a principle, amor fati, Love your fate, not because it's fair, because resistance to reality is suffering's primary fuel source. You can't control her incentive structure. You can't control her biological response patterns. You can't control how she interprets your needs. You can control your boundaries, your financial architecture, your time sovereignty, your response patterns, your exit capability. That's not a small list. That's everything that matters. The realignment, peace as asset. Every man who's left a toxic marriage reports the same phenomenon. I'm at peace now. Not happy, not thriving yet, not in another relationship, just at peace. That tells you something critical. The chaos wasn't inherent to you. It was environmental. You've been operating in a high-stress environment so long, you forgot what baseline calm feels like. You thought the anxiety, the walking on eggshells, the constant evaluation, you thought that was just marriage. It's not. That's coercion architecture. Peace isn't a luxury. Peace is the foundation of every other form of capital. You can't build financial wealth from a cortisol-flooded nervous system. You can't maintain physical health under chronic relational stress. You can't think strategically when you're in constant reaction mode. The Stoic reframe. Peace isn't what you get after you fix the relationship. Peace is what you protect while you decide about the relationship. The Practical Healing Protocol. This isn't think positive. This is tactical nervous system regulation. Daily practice. Morning silence, 10 minutes. Before you check phone, before you engage chaos, sit in silence. This isn't meditation. This is reminding your nervous system that peace exists. You're not asking permission for this. You're taking it. Boundary audit, 5 minutes. Review yesterday. Where did you hold boundaries? Where did you collapse? No judgment, just data collection. Patterns reveal themselves through tracking. Financial clarity, 2 minutes. Check your sovereign account balance. Even if it's only $50, that number represents freedom, not amount. Watch it grow. Let it remind you that exit velocity is building. Physical sovereignty, 30 minutes. Gym, walk, garage time. Your body, your time. Non-negotiable. This isn't exercise. This is boundary enforcement in physical form. Evening inventory, 5 minutes. What did you control today? What did you release? Stoic dichotomy practice. You'll sleep better when you stop trying to control her response and focus on controlling your response. This protocol does something subtle but critical. It shifts your identity from man trying to fix broken marriage to sovereign individual managing a decision. You're not trapped. You're gathering data and building capacity while you decide. That reframe is everything. The comments on every video covering relationship dynamics men face reveal a pattern. Thousands of men recognizing themselves, validating each other's experience, breaking the silence. Your experience isn't isolated, it's structural. The provision paradox operates across socioeconomic lines. Six-figure earners and blue-collar workers report identical patterns. The transaction framework doesn't care about your income. It cares about your leverage. Here's my question for you. What was the exact moment you realized provision and value moved in opposite directions in your marriage? Was it when you hit 6 figures and the complaints increased? Was it when you took on the third shift and she said you weren't doing enough? Was it when you sacrificed your peace for hers and she showed contempt, not gratitude? Drop your moment in the comments. Your story might be the data point another man needs to realize he's not crazy. He's just finally seeing the architecture clearly. And if this analysis provided clarity on relationship dynamics men navigate, consider this. Sovereign male dynamics isn't a channel, It's a blueprint library. Each video is another section of the architecture you're building. Not to fix her, to build sovereignty that exists independent of her cooperation. Subscribing isn't about supporting content. It's about ensuring you have access to the frameworks when you need them. The provision paradox is one pattern. We're mapping the entire system. Because you don't deserve to spend the rest of your life in a system where increased value decreases your position. You deserve peace, sovereignty, clarity. Not someday, starting now.